Hi guys, Aka here. This video was requested by a few people and I'm sorry it's coming out late considering that the event is almost close to over, but better late than never, I guess. Here, we're going to be taking a look at two generals that were released during this event. We're going to be looking at Douglas and Eleanor, the two main generals that were released during this event. And in case you didn't notice, these guys are like the ranged equivalent of Ludwig and Alessandra. So let's take a look at them to see if they match up to their ground counterparts. We're going to start first with Douglas. So we have Douglas here. For his main skill, he gets ranged attack 25% plus an additional 15% range attack and range defense when he brings either a dragon or a spirit beast. So that is actually quite good for Douglas, okay? If you have a dragon or a spirit beast, that's fine, you get that. Now, for his specialties, when you go through all of his specialties, he comes out with a total of 61% attack, 40% defense, and 10% HP, okay? When you go through his ascension, he comes out with a total of 45% attack, 55% defense, and 65% HP. Now, when you put all of his stats together, Douglas comes out with a total of 146% attack, 110% defense, and 75% HP. Okay? Those are very good stats. And if we put him up against someone like Charles XII, you can see that aside from defense, Douglas has better stats than Charles XII. If you want to look at something like march size, both of them come out with 16% march size when fully maxed out. So they're both equal on that. And also remember that Douglas has this new skin feature. So if you get the skin, you get an additional 10% range attack. You also get some debuffs as well. So all in all, I think it is pretty safe to say that Douglas is a stronger range general than Charles XII. And that arguably makes him the best range general in the game right now. Of course, the implication of that being he's very premium, very hard to get, and will be very difficult to max out unless you're spending some hard cash. In terms of their base stats, Douglas has slightly better base stats than Charles XII. Charles gets that back on some of the other stats. So base stats wise, they're pretty much round about the same level. But all in all, I think Douglas is a better range general than Charles XII. Now that we've looked at Douglas, let's look at Eleanor. So we have Eleanor here. For her main skill, you get range attack and range defense 35% each, and march size 10%. For her specialties, when you put all of them together, she comes out with 70% attack, 20% defense, and 10% HP. When you go to her ascension and you put all of that together, she comes out with a total of 25% attack, 25% defense, and 25% HP. So 25 all across the board. Now, when you put all of her stats together, Eleanor comes out with a total of 130% attack, 80% defense, and 35% HP. Fully maxed out, Eleanor is not quite as good as Charles XII and Douglas, but she is still pretty good. She rivals a lot of the good range generals in the game. In addition, she comes out with 10% march size and 8% rally size when she's fully maxed out. So that's the quick summary of the stats for Douglas and Eleanor. Now, the important thing here, like we said earlier for Douglas, he's a premium general. Eleanor is also premium. very hard to get. If you're planning on using her as a main general, it would be quite difficult to get her ascension done. So, that being said, one of the things that we would want to look at is how good are they at being assistant generals. Fortunately, Eleanor doesn't require a dragon, and Douglas, though he requires a dragon, could also use a spirit beast, meaning that both of them are viable as range assistants. Now, taking a quick look at their stats, I would say that Eleanor is better at being a ranged assistant than Douglas is. And for that matter, Eleanor is pretty much as good as Charles XII at being a ranged assistant, arguably maybe slightly better. And she's a better ranged assistant than Kaguya and Conrad. Douglas is also pretty good if you're going to be using him as a range assistant, but Eleanor will be slightly better. So that's what they look like if you're considering using them as assistants. However, I want to give a little bit of a warning here, okay? I haven't actually got my hands on these two generals. Technically, I do have Eleanor, but as you can see, she's still in the chest. I haven't opened the chest yet. So, I've not been able to personally confirm how they do in terms of compatibility with some of the other generals. For example, if you're going to be using, let's say, someone like Electra, how compatible they are with her. I haven't checked what books they are compatible with, whether they can take all the skill books or not. So that's something that you will have to keep in mind if you have them and you're considering using them. And if you have any information regarding their compatibility with certain generals or certain skill books, please feel free to drop a comment down below. It'll be greatly appreciated. Again, these two are quite comparable to Ludwig and Alessandra, and because of that, I would expect that Douglas and Eleanor go very well together. I would expect they will make a good combination. In which case, if you had both of them, you could technically use Douglas as your main general and Eleanor as the assistant general. That would probably work fine, and then all you have to do is sort out skill books afterwards. So, that's the quick overview of these two generals, and I hope it helps you if you're making a decision on whether to get or use either of them. Later, I will bring out another video talking a bit more about assistant generals in general. So, thank you very much. Aka signing out.